Jerry O'Brien. We're here at a marker for the 17th Airborne Division, which was in existence from the middle of 1943 to September of 1945. Unfortunately, we do not have any veterans who were able to speak on behalf of the association this year, and I was chosen by the Scions, which is a group that is basically the family members of the 17th Airborne. My father was killed in action on March 24, 1945 in Operation Varsity, and he's buried over here a few hundred yards. In the past, we had a very distinguished member of the 17th, Colonel John Corman, speak, and if you were here previous years, you remember him. And he was an idol for all of us Scions, and he in fact created this group to keep the memory of the 17th Airborne alive. So not a lot is known about the history of the 17th Airborne. It was in England in December of 1944, it being trained to jump into Germany eventually. But the bulge broke out. They took the 17th, took them over to France, put them in Patton's army, and Patton, taking these men who had never been in combat before, for some reason, put them at the front, and as they approached Bastogne. The warfare was pretty brutal. At one point, they were losing over 1,000 men a day, casualties, dead and wounded. But they persevered, like the rest of the 82nd. If you remember, the 101st was trapped in Bastogne, and it's like its fellow paratroopers were coming to help them out. Well, obviously they drove the Germans back toward Germany. The division then went to France to recuperate and met their main mission eventually, which was to jump into Germany in Operation Varsity on March 24, 1945, when my dad was killed. When we were at the Women's Memorial, I met a lady for the first time whose father was killed the very same day, and unfortunately she didn't make the rest of the trip here today. But Operation Varsity was the largest airborne operation ever, and it was also the costliest ever. They started out with 17,000 paratroopers and glidermen. 11,000 were 17th Airborne, 6,000 were from the British Airborne. In the first 12 hours, they had 1,000 dead. But they pursued their objectives. They were successful and drove on through the Ruhr Valley up toward Berlin. During their operations, they had 4 Medal of Honor winners. They had 5 units that received the Presidential Unit Citation. So we're here to remember them, and on behalf of the Scions, I would like to say to the 82nd Airborne that we greatly appreciate the opportunity to participate in this memorial service. And of course, to help us remember the members of the 17th Airborne. And so with that, I thank you. Color guard.
Alles. Advent. Present. Oh. Order.